What's up, YouTube? This is a review video of the 2020 SRT Durango. Right now, this is a stock, pretty much a stock Durango SRT. For those of you already should know already with the specs on this vehicle. Should be 470 horsepower, 0 to 60 around 4.3 seconds, give or take, 4.5 seconds. It's a really nice car. I like it a lot. Just to fill you in on what I just owned it for 6 months, and this car has some Brembo brakes. But yeah, so these should be 295s. I'm gonna upgrade to 315s for when these wear out. But yeah, so just to tell you a little bit about this video and this vehicle. It's a 2020 SRT Durango. Bought it around 24,000 miles. Me personally, if you ever buy a vehicle of this magnitude when it comes to horsepower and stuff like that, I would encourage you to invest into a blue driver. So this is the interior. Got the red leather. Excuse me, it's a little dirty. I didn't even really plan ahead to make this video. Just wanted to make it for everyone here. So 3 rows. Have some kids, so you know. Have the 3rd row back there. One of the seats are down because I bought some stuff. Most of them come with sunroof, infotainment, and it has track mode. Yeah, SRT mode, track, and various like towing, programming, and snow and auto stuff like that. Custom. So comes with regular SRT keychain. The Hellcats come with the red one. I'll pop the hood for you a little bit. That's aftermarket install. Sorry, I'm doing this in the rain. But yeah, so I'll pop the hood for you. Originally they come with tents on the back, for the back glass beyond. These should be around like 10%, I believe, or 5. And then I added the ceramic 15% on the front, and then the windshield doesn't have any. So, I forgot to mention the blue driver. So blue driver, for those of you who probably don't know about OBD2 scanning or anything like that, definitely invest in one of these. Blue driver. There's a YouTube video on it made by Chris Fix and a few other people who are really notable regards to this product. You install it here, it lights up, and then it syncs to your phone, and you download the app, and you can run all the programming options. You can run all the OBD2 scanning on the vehicle. You can find out the check engine light was cleared recently. You can find out any parameters that are not up to this threshold or standings like that. You know, they'll tell you basically that the vehicle is going to eventually need some type of service or repair. So me personally, if you ever buy this vehicle, you definitely want to invest in one of those, and you go and you run every car that you buy, because this car is on average is going to be sitting around, depending on the mileage, it's gonna be worth around 60 to 70,000. I mean, you could get them under 60, but it'd probably be high mileage, probably a collision or some other situation that depreciates its value. So this one is a one owner, 24,000 miles. Right now it sits at 33. I owned it for roughly 9,000 miles and counting. This is my daily work that I done to this car was I did the front tint. I put these stripes on. Yeah, I could do a little better job. I got this going on. I cut here by mistake, and then this one I messed up on that, but so I put it like that. Put the stripe on it. But for the most part, overall, I think I did a good job. The stripes alone were like $100, and then I installed them for free myself. I didn't do the roof, as you can see, but I did the fronts and the backs. And unless you're a helicopter or somebody from a rooftop, you really wouldn't notice. It took me a few days to do it patiently. That's that. And then I did the racetrack the racetrack light tints. Did that. So when you buy this car, it comes with the scoops. Now this one, I put an air duct cover here because I didn't want water intrusion, so I have an aftermarket intake. So by the way, it's Thanksgiving today, so happy Thanksgiving. Decided to do this video on Thanksgiving. So I have an oil catch can here. I have a cold air intake here. I gotta clean that one soon. That's what I do for cleaning. But for the most part, here you go. Engine bay. This is pretty much the engine bay. So when I bought this car, right, this is probably like my 8th Durango that I've seen, SRT Durango that I've seen, and it's the only one I decided to buy. I had no other considerations besides another one that was okay. If you would ever buy this car, unless you know the person and you could assess for the repairs and the maintenance on this car, I would encourage you to, one, buy one of these fresh off a lease at under 30,000 miles. These warranties are 5-year, I think it's 5-year 36,000. I mean 3-year 36,000 miles, excuse me. 3-year 36,000 miles. Right now I'm sitting at 33 and I haven't hit the 3 years yet, so it should be coming to an end, the warranty. But I feel really comfortable with where I stand with this car. So I run the OBD2 scanner every other day or every week, give or take, and I had no problems whatsoever. When I went to go buy this car, for example, I found that this car had it had leaks in the engine bay. So it had leaks in like that area right under the manifold covers. So this is the manifold right here, and it wasn't leaking from here, but it was leaking from the sides. So if you take off this cover here, this car is hot, so I don't want to really touch it too much, but like pretty much right here on the actual block, on the metal part, which is the block, it was leaking there. It was black oil, and so it was leaking there on both sides. And what else? And I mean, that's pretty much it. I didn't have no other problems besides that. Check engine lights was good. I ran the codes and everything. But every other Durango I ran into, SRT, all of them had a lot of mechanical issues. And most of the ones I've seen, they had more than 2 owners. And ideally, for every owner you have, is more of a risk of continuous maintenance, of timely continuous maintenance. So that's why I suggest to go through, get that one owner fresh off a lease, because usually people who, you know, ideally, yes, there's people that they know their lease coming to an end, they're gonna return the car and they'll run the train on the car and do all types of crazy stuff. But you know, at the same time, the car has to come back in the condition that they leased it in. So there's still some type of like leverage that the dealership has in regards to the car. If they own the car, yes, they could destroy the car, and as long as the dealer on the trade-in accepts it with no check engine lights and no, you know, visual problems, because a lot of the dealers won't test drive the car to the capability that it needs to be test driven to find out if there's any serious problem. Some people just look for a check light, any, you know, airbag, airbag or ABS lights, and then that's pretty much it. So in this case, this was the one I found. I had to negotiate with the dealer to clean the engine bay, as well as replace the intake manifold gaskets. So there's gaskets on every one of the ports. Sorry, I forgot the term, but they're basically the cylinder ports. So there was leaking gaskets, and the gaskets actually broke because this car has high compression and high power. So ideally, if you press the gas and you decelerate a lot of torque and just RPMs, just high RPMs at really like low gears, you're gonna create a lot of pressure in this engine, and I would assume that that's what caused the blown gaskets. Now another thing too is if you're gonna install this, which when I bought this car I already had it, this is a great item. It's called an oil catch can. For those of you who don't know about oil catch cans, I'll give you a quick summary and then you can just do your own research. But pretty much air goes through here, and then through the intake, and then the engine has compression, which oil eventually from here creates a vapor and it comes through this line. So this line will leave the residual oil here, and then the air will circulate back into the intake. So it's kind of like an EGR, like an exhaust gas recirculation. However, if you don't have this oil catch can, the oil will go back into the intake and it would cause like accumulation of oil in your intake, and it's just a bad thing for your engine overall. I'm not too savvy with that, so please don't quote what I'm saying, but that's kind of like the general premise. I would advise you to go research that on your own. But you clean this every now and then. You just take it off, or you can drain it from the bottom and then you pour it into a napkin or whatever, and then you just clean like that, or your oil reservoir, whatever you have to dispose of your oil. And then that's it. You put the cap back on, and you just every oil change. I mean, every time you pump gas, I would change that. And then intake. So this is the cover I was talking about. That way you don't have rainwater coming on this. But pretty much, that's this is the 2020 SRT Durango. The maintenance on this car, I would say that it takes 0W40 oil, around 7 quarts. That oil is very expensive and very hard to find, like walking into like any random spot such as like AutoZone or Walmart. So I would ideally advise you that you have to go on Amazon or eBay and buy it. That's what I did. I bought 7 quarts of Royal Purple 0W40, which will tell you right here. And it should be 7 quarts. Don't quote me on that. You know, find out. But 0W40 is synthetic. That's what I used of Royal Purple. Came around, it was a little pricey, but you know, for a car like this, you want to give it like adequate you know, service and good quality parts and fluids. My next project is going to be changing the brake fluid and probably coolant, maybe like a year from now, give or take. But this is it. All I've done to this car is put tints on, put the stripes on, cut the mid muffler, the mid mufflers off, put the tail light tint on it, and I put a few put a spray basically like I forgot what it's called. I'm sorry. It's a spray for like water and preserves the car and stuff like that. I had to put a new coat on because I still have water sticking to the paint. But I also put these on because when I bought the car, they didn't have these 392 badges. You get them on Amazon or eBay. And then that's pretty much it. Now I'm gonna start the car for you. Hear what I'm talking about. I'll show you some of the parameters on the engine and on the infotainment, and then we'll just cease this video from here. If you have any questions about this vehicle, you can always hit me up. But one thing I would definitely advise you is see if the car would turn on with the hood open. Probably won't. Let me close the. I just turn it on regular. All right, so you hop in the car, right? I'm gonna just put it on accessory. So, bong. This lights up. Another thing too, when I bought this car, the airbags tend to like, the airbags tend not to work after a period of time. So, I'm gonna try it right now. So, as you see, the light is on now. But when you buy this car, make sure the headlight is working. It's supposed to be white. Now, if you have a Hellcat or certain other cars, I don't know, maybe other Durango, you'll have this in red or different colors. But if you're under warranty, you should be able to fix that. So that's one thing I would definitely encourage you to check. When I bought this car, I told you the problems I had, including the leaking in the engine and this, and they replaced this, and then they replaced also the gaskets. That was an expensive job, but they didn't have to pay for this. Another thing too, when you buy this car, let me actually show you this real quick. So this is SRT mode. So I gotta be in. Let me see if I put it in run. All right, SRT mode. So this is your mode. You have track. That's the one I kind of drive on every now and then. And then when you click track, right now I'm not driving, so it won't show. But so yeah, so this is how track mode looks. Transmissions on track and all these other features. Then sport is kind of like everyday driving, give or take. I usually drive on auto and then I put it on eco. That's what I do now. Whenever I find myself want to be a little more aggressive or sporty, then I'll go to the track or sport. And then custom is like kind of like when you want to touch up like whatever you want based on your driving needs. So if you want to drive fast, but then you want to have comfort, but then you're steering and this, that, and the other, you can kind of adjust it. So that's my comfort. You know, I like drive track and I like to have stability and suspension on the softer side. Snow, that's rare. I'm in Texas now, but I used to be in New York. So there goes your snow program, and that's default. and then you have a tow programming. So when I towed my car from New York to Texas, I had it on this mode, and I was getting around like 13 a gallon, which is not bad because my car I was towing was it was a 2016 Nissan Altima, and it had a few things in the trunk. So overall, I was probably towing around 3,000 to 4,000 pounds plus the dolly, and I had no problems whatsoever. This car was great. Now, one thing I'm going in regards to that, just to tell you here, it has CarPlay, has Sirius, and it has you know, regular radio, and it has Bluetooth, obviously. You have a map function here, which I like, where you can see the map and then you can touch around with this. And then you got climate, obviously. You turn on your heat or whatever. Heated seats, heated steering wheel, excuse me. Heated seats here, steering wheel, vented seats. You can put them high, low. And then same thing for the passenger side. Then the back seats, actually, which are the middle row, they have heated seats too. So if right there. And then so you get backup camera right here. You can just look right there real fast if you want to. And then I'm creating this video because I didn't find a video like this for a lot of people that they were looking at either dealership, like more commercialized vehicles and stuff like that. Like, I didn't find like a homemade video, and I feel like it'll be best for y'all to like really absorb this perspective before y'all buy a vehicle like this. So navigation. So you have I usually drive around with the map on like this sometimes. You know, you can do 2D, 3D, full screen, whatever you want to do. Click out, and then you know, you do your thing here. Phone, you do your stuff here, you know, with that. Settings. There's a lot of stuff that I do with this car pertains to settings. So you have safety, driving assistance. I usually drive with this car has 4 collision warning and lane assist. So it keep you in the lane. So you'll use like this. This is your cruise control, adaptive cruise control. So it'll keep you from like rear-ending cars, or it keep you like from a distance, either close, far, and it will speed up for you or slow down, give or take the distance between you and another car. Obviously it's your phone stuff, talking stuff here, up, down, left, right. This is for your dash here. And then you have your cruise control here. You can turn it on here, and then you could mess around here, set it, and up it, speed up, stuff like that, cancel it. Now regards to this, I drive with the 4 collision warning off, automatic braking off, because like, God forbid, like, it reacts at a time. It kind of surprises you because you may not see the car like slowing down really hard, but your car notices it, and then it will brake on you randomly. And I don't think that would be smart for you to like put yourself in a situation where maybe somebody's tailgating you and your car decides to stop really hard because, you know, it says, oh, I want to stop, you know, even though somebody's tailgating you, and the next thing you know, now you get rear-ended. So yeah, you don't rear-end the car behind you, I mean, in front of you, but you get rear-ended, which is just as a bad day. So all right, so automatic brake, that's the automatic emergency braking. That's what I was referring to. The lane assist warning. So the warning is actually the beeping sound. So as you drive and you're about to rear end somebody, it will tell you earlier than later. So late means like if you get really close to the car, it will let you know. And then early is like if you're really far away from the car and you feel, and like there's a distance per second, meaning like, let's say from here to this house, that's like 20 feet, and we going 80 miles per hour, and then 20 feet goes to like 15 feet within like a second, then and you don't like slow down or anything, or so shift lanes, it will alarm you. And all it would do is it'll do a beep, and it'll say warning, and it's trying to basically attract you from like potentially rear-ending this person, which I think is great, instead of automatically braking, because you never know, somebody, you know, is gonna rear-end you, or you're like in a hazardous area where like the roads are slick and you just don't need like automatic braking. So that's my suggestion for that. Lane strength, lane sense strength. That basically means like when you're swerving from left and right in a lane, if you put it at low, it's not gonna fight you. Meaning like if you hit the edge of the lane, you could like override it with your hand. So you could like basically override it and like switch lanes without using a signal. But if you put it at like high, it's gonna fight you. So there's people that they'll drive with their hands off the wheel, and the lane assist will keep them in the lane. But then over time, what's gonna happen is it's gonna tell you keep your hands on the wheel, or it'll tell you like some type of warning to tell you, hey, pay attention to the road and put your hands on the wheel, and stop letting the car steer for you in contrast to you steering for the car. So that's gonna happen to you if you don't if you keep on doing that. But then you have a low, medium, high. Park sense, that's what I told you. So park sense is like when you back up, the alarms are gonna come on, the beeping noises are gonna come up as you get close to objects. So, you know, you have the sound, and you have the sound display, which is like the adjustable lines that kind of curve as you back up. And then the volume, how high you want the volume, park sense, volume. So you have the front and you have the back. And then hill start assist, as you approach a hill, it will help you like go up the hill. You have like safety and mirrors and wipers, excuse me, like so you tilt the mirrors in reverse. I find that that's good in city, but then like when you park in like city and stuff like that. But then I find that when you back up, even if it's like a random backup for like, oh, you're in a parking lot or something, you may want to see behind you, and these are not advantageous for you to see behind in contrast to like seeing curbs. So I wish there was a way to kind of find, like, press a button to kind of adjust that more quicker, instead of just like default every time you back up you have to tilt this mirror. It automatically tilts the mirror. So I disengage it because most of the time now here I don't use it for curbs. Rain sensor auto wiper. So this car has auto wiper detection, which I think is that bulb right there, or I think it's behind this mirror you know, stuff here. There should be like a sensor that indicates the rain, and then automatically it'll wipe for you. But in order for that to happen, you have to have the setting on auto, which is, so it's on off now. You have to have it at least on this, and it'll turn off. So if you have it at least on that, it will turn off automatically, and then when it rains, it will turn on. Now if you have it on off, it will be off no matter what. So I always keep it on this, and then when it stops raining, it stops, and when it rains, it turns on its own on low. Now if you go all the way here, that's high, but I leave it on low, so it should stop, you know. But anyways, so that's that. Everything else is not really that important for the most part. Key off options is not a big thing. So that's my experience with this car. I love this car. I think it's a great car, but I have a lot of reservations in regards to this car when it comes to, oh, just to touch up, this car specifically didn't came with no hardened carbon or Beats speakers, but a sound system, should I say. But the speakers here in this car are really good, in my opinion. It's like a good surround sound feel, like very good. The quality is good. I would say that it's not as loud as what you may want it to be, maybe. But then maybe I'm from New York and I like loud music in cars with my windows down like a typical New Yorker. So maybe that's just me. But overall, the quality of the car is good. I'm going to install a Rolls-Royce like overhead, like headliner type of a thing soon. I don't know when I'll start it, but I'll start it very soon. So I'll keep you posted on that. This car, right, the difference between the RT, SRT, and the base model Durangos is only, the real big thing is engine, suspension, and brakes. Let's say from RT to SRT, the only thing you're really paying for is suspension and brakes. Engine, suspension, and brakes. That's the only difference, because SRTs come with Brembo brakes, 4 and 6 piston Brembo brakes, 6 in the front and 4 in the back. You're paying for wider tires and wider rims. So I believe the SRT rims are 10.5 inches or 11 inches wide, versus the 8s. I think it's 8 inches for the RTs. I know the tires on RTs come standard at 245. Some people put 275s. I think you can go up to 275 on an RT tire. Excuse me, on an RT rim before like you start getting problems with, you know, stretching and, you know, stuff like that. These cars come with 10.5 to 11. I believe, I'm like 90% sure they come with 11-inch rims, 10.5 to 11-inch rims. So you could put up to a 315 on them, maybe more. I'm not sure. I never tried it, so I wouldn't know. But when these tires wear out, I'm definitely gonna stagger these tires and probably put 315s and 295s in the front or something like that. So yeah, I would say, me personally, as an aspiring buyer, if it was you, I would definitely get a tool such as a Blue Driver. You don't have to necessarily be mechanically inclined, but you have to know that if you're going to make a purchase of this magnitude, you want to have as much education as possible. And so if that's the case, when it comes to education, you want it with either a mechanic by you, or you could just kind of weed out the ones that you see straight up. Like if you see 3 owners on a 2020 or 2019 or whatever, 18, me personally, unless you have a really good reason why, as you read that Carfax, if it doesn't say like a 70-year-old lady or some type of mechanic, I don't know, like some way to like determine that this car was kept really well, or some type of like low mileage is usually a good indicator. The type of the place it was kept. Like, so New York is a place where the roads are really bad. New York City, in essence, and it's salt, so it corrodes your steel and all your metal parts. So if you were like to be in somewhere that's less like out here in Texas or maybe California where there's no snow, you don't have to worry about like salt corroding your metals in your vehicle, or like wear and tear on your suspension parts. But yeah, I would definitely say, hey, if you can mechanically inclined or good enough to kind of pull out that blue driver and just run it, and you'll find so much information. Something as simple as when was the check engine light cleared, because it will tell you how long the engine has been running before the check engine light has been cleared. And like if you buy a car like this and you see that it's been cleared within like maybe like 40 miles, that tells you that they trying to hide something. And then obviously as you run the codes and you run ABS and like all the codes, you have the engine codes and you have the other codes, which is ABS and airbags and suspension and miscellaneous stuff here and there. You'll find stuff, and then based on how you research those things, you'll come up to a conclusion if it's worth it or not. Me personally, if I'm buying a car like this expensive and stuff like that, once I see anything, I'm gonna walk away. Because I like at this point, you can't, me personally, you can't, there's certain things you just, it all depends on your pocket, it depends on your philosophy on how you want to make this purchase. But if you're making a purchase this much, you expect a relatively flawless vehicle, especially at the mileage and especially at how young the car is. You don't want any like serious problems. So that's what the blue driver did for me, and to this day I have no problems with this car. And the problems that I did find were indicative based on my just examination of the engine bay and some of the exterior parts. One thing I would tell you is that when I bought this car, I forgot to mention this car didn't have a tow package, which was crazy to me. But then again, it was my fault because I didn't do enough research. And so it's basically ready to be rigged up for wiring and a tow hitch, but it doesn't have those things, and it doesn't even have a spare tire. SRTs, from my experience, from my research, and from my like going into several cars and visiting them and stuff like that to potentially buy, none of them had a spare tire. These cars inherently have tires that are run flat. So ideally, if you catch a flat, you're gonna have an X amount of time for you to like navigate to a tire repair spot or some place wherever you go to fix your tire. That's the reason why these don't come with run flats. Spare tires. But neither here or there. Another reason why it doesn't come with spare tires is because this car is in essence a race car SUV, which is at one point in time it was the fastest SUV, third row SUV in the United States, or should I say the world. And then eventually I think the Escalade came out. Escalade V came out, and now you have Hellcat Durangos, and you have all other types of vehicles that are probably faster than this. But the premise is that they wanted to take off the wheel to increase speed and to remove excess weight. And so that's the reason why the spare tire was removed. I'm sure you could buy it externally and just buy it and install it. I don't know that yet. I haven't tried. I might put a splitter on the rear diffuser splitter stuff setup. I might do that. I might do a few other things here and there to the car where I may not need a spare, but I may explore that one day. But definitely look before you buy to see if the car is ready for it doesn't have a tow package. So it may be ready to tow, such as wiring, but it may not have a tow hitch. And so the tow hitch, you could buy it on Amazon for like $300, $200 and get it installed at some corner store mechanic, maybe for like $100, give or take. or you obviously go to the dealership and get your head cracked in for, you know, for whatever they decide to do, $175 an hour. And then the 3-hour minimum, obviously, for every job for the most part. And then, yeah, and then you got to pay for labor and, I mean, for parts and all that stuff. Because most dealers don't install aftermarket parts. But in my case, I bought the parts from eBay. So my car didn't come with, this truck didn't come with wiring nor hitch nor bolts. So what I did was I first asked them, and they were charging me like $1,500, and I was like, that's crazy. So what I did was I went on eBay and I found the wiring alone for like $40, which was like insane. $40. It even came with a fuse box, which apparently the fuse box you don't have to swap out. The fuse box is just, I guess it just comes with it, or whatever the case may be. So I bought a fuse box. It came out to like $40, and it came with the wiring and the fuse box for the towing package. And then I also bought the tow hitch, and then I had to buy the bolts, the carriage bolts, or whatever you want to call them. So all that together, the hitch came out to like $2-something, like $250 on Amazon. You gotta make sure you buy the right rating for your car and for the stuff you're trying to tow. I think the Durango, from what I remember seeing, it was 87 pounds of towing, and then the tongue weight, I think, is like don't quote me on the tongue weight. I think it's under 1,000, something like that. It's like 800 or something like that. But either way, make sure you buy the right rating for your vehicle. This should be like the second to highest rating, or if not the highest rating, when it comes to like the trailering and stuff, towing. So yeah, I installed that. So let me show you actually from here. So this is the hitch, and then my hitch sticks out of the bezel cover here, and this is the stuff, the 4 connector. And then I got this Reese from Amazon. It's like $20. And then yeah, got this, and I towed my wife's car with that. And then that's pretty much the Durango right here. So let me turn it on for you before I end this video. Concludes the video, y'all. So you get any questions, hit me up. I'm more than happy to reply to y'all. But be smart about buying this vehicle, and make sure you do your due diligence to inspect it. And that's pretty much it, y'all. Take care.